Hi, welcome to Tally Alley, where we do dumb stuff. I'm Evan, and this is Haley, and welcome to Movie Alley, where we discuss each movie we've seen in the past week in 5 minutes or less.
This week we saw Joker and Jexi. So, Joker, thoughts?
Overall, really good. Didn't like a couple things, but for the most part, it was definitely the best DC movie in my opinion. I don't know. Wonder Woman's pretty great. So it's between Wonder Woman and Joker for me. I probably give Joker the edge, but because I like DC villains better than I like the heroes.
Well, I would say I like Joker better than Wonder Woman because of the type of film it was, because Joker is a very different type of film. It could almost not be classed as a superhero or villain film and doesn't necessarily fit into like the typical connotations that you expect to see in a superhero film. So I think it kind of has an edge because it kind of dealt with some more real world subjects than like coming into like superpowers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Joker did a really good job of taking DC's dark theme and actually making it work for once instead of your normal, like, hey, here's a good guy, but he's just dark for some reason, which I understand what DC's trying to do, kind of have an edgier kind of like feel for their movies, make it more realistic and stuff, other than the cartoony kind of just natural thing. But Joker actually takes that and then uses it in a way that makes sense and like feels real versus like, well, this dude can fly and stuff, but oh no, it has to be realistic.
Yeah, it definitely has a different edge to it, and I think like it was something that I wasn't expecting from a DC film from their past the other films that they've done. And I know there's discussions on how exactly it's going to fit into, I guess, like the technical canon of the DCEU, but I think like overall this was a very good stepping point for the Joker as a character because it's something we've not seen before.
Yeah. I definitely think one of the best things the film did was how they kind of left a couple things up to interpretation. Like, I saw a theory that it was actually, the whole movie was from the point of perspective of Joker when he was in Arkham at the end, that the whole movie we were seeing was his telling of the events to the psychiatrist there, rather than something we were following through at the current time, that rather it was a recollection of events. So that could leave open that perhaps then maybe this is just his perspective of things and things could be different. Maybe the whole city wasn't on his side, or maybe they were, but maybe a couple things are a little twisted more so to it matches his narrative.
Yeah, he becomes an unreliable narrator if you think of it that way, and so all of the sympathy that you kind of gain from him being like, oh, he was tormented and ridiculed and no one was kind of like there for him, and his issues with his mom and no dad and all this, and then suddenly it's like, well, maybe that's not actually true, maybe this is something completely different, and I think that adds like another layer of depth to the film as a whole. I definitely like the ending though. The ending I think was something that was very well done in this film because it left it open, but also kind of was a humorous ending, but also was very serious too.
It wrapped up our serious main plot points that we've been following for the most part, but also opened new ones that we could later follow, even with a simple line of like, oh, I had a joke, but you wouldn't get it. So obviously there's something, he's planning something going on, so that can follow with him escaping.
When it led into like his name as the Joker, like, oh, I had a joke, but you wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like almost like leading into that, because did they actually call him the Joker?
Yeah.
He was called the Joker.
Because the talk show host.
Oh, that's right, the Joker, that was the whole
why
point.
it came on.
We saw this movie late at night, I feel like I missed a lot of things, I need to go see it again.
You didn't like it enough, apparently.
Well, I liked it, I just feel like I didn't, I wasn't there for
what was your favorite scene then, of what you did see?
Well, I liked the end scene. I think the talk show scene, though, now that you mention it, was like a very pivotal scene because it was a very intense scene.
Yeah.
For the film.
I like the scene that just precedes it a little bit when he realizes, when he both comes to realization and kind of snaps out of his like made up fantasy of him having the girl and all this stuff with his mom and oh, Thomas Wayne is my father and all that stuff. When he comes to like reality. But at the same time, he falls further into insanity because he just embraces everything. Even though he knows that's not true anymore, he then takes it up and goes, well, whatever, this is my reality, I'm going to just go with it. And I think that was a really great scene because it's not really what I think we were expecting. I kind of was confused about a lot of things that they showed were fake and just weren't actually happening, but I also was not expecting, I don't think, really to see that's what tossed him into going full into the Joker mode.
So what would you rate it? 4 out of 5? 5 out of 5? 3 out of 5?
Out of the tally scale, 4 out of 5.
I'm leaning towards 4 out of 5 too. I think one thing they did that I wish they would have left out was the killing of Bruce Wayne's parents, because it felt a little unnecessary to actually like show them dying, rather than just showing like a newspaper clipping or something. It didn't feel like Batman should have been such like kind of a pivotal point right there.
Because this was Joker's movie, not
exactly,
Batman.
and it very much like brought in like, oh, but see, it only matters because of Bruce Wayne.
I like the interaction that they showed with Bruce, with him doing the magic tricks with him, because they are very connected characters. Every storyline, but I don't know that it was necessary for them to show his parents getting killed yet again. It's like Uncle Ben. We see him die every single movie.
It's one of those things that maybe we've seen enough of, because I think even without anyone seeing a superhero movie, they would have known those kind of pivotal things.
Batman's an orphan.
But yeah, so 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
So we're in agreement
Joker's
on that
solid.
one. Joker's solid, definitely. Right. And the next movie we're going to talk about, right on the mark,
Jexi.
is Jexi, which...
Very different movie from Joker.
Very different movie. I was wanting to see it more than you were.
I didn't really want to go, I just wanted to go see a movie.
Yeah, so that was kind of one. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was either. I kind of thought it was going to be a stupid comedy, and it was a stupid comedy.
But it was pretty great.
But it was a very
good stupid comedy. It felt kind of like a rom-com at times, but I think they balanced it enough that nothing really took away from the fact that it was just like a comedy.
Yeah.
Nothing really took away and made it feel like, oh, well, this is just a romance movie now at this part. Everything, even the romance parts of it, still were very focused on making you laugh in some way or the other. And it definitely didn't do the mistake that most comedy movies do, which is put all your funny scenes in the trailer and then there's nothing else. This movie consistently made you laugh just over and over and over again. And there's not really too much to complain about, but it's also not like, I wouldn't have wanted to pay to go see it very much.
We have Regal Unlimited, and so this was one that we wanted to go see a movie, and the timing, that was the one movie that the timing worked out, and I had kind of been interested in seeing it, and so we were like, well, that's the movie we're going to go see today. And I think we were glad we did, because we normally wouldn't have went and seen it, so that's a plus to having a Regal Unlimited card, because you go see movies you wouldn't normally expect to see.
Definitely better than what I was expecting.
Yeah, and like there was a couple, like Wanda Sykes is in that movie.
She's
she
hilarious,
plays a cashier basically, or a salesman, and she's hilarious. Like that was one of the reasons in the trailer that I wanted to go see the movie at all.
She was perfect in every way in that movie. It was every single time.
And the main characters were great too. Phil and Kate, and there was secondhand embarrassment was a very big theme in this movie, which I don't handle very well, but it was done well, but I just can't take it.
It was done in a way that most people would still be able to laugh at it, but you also, to really enjoy this movie, you absolutely have to be able to find yourself on Adam Devine's character, Phil's side. You really have to have sympathy for him, or you're probably not going to find half the jokes funny. You're just going to be like, wow, that really sucks for him. He's dumb.
Yeah, he's definitely very socially inept, and it like slowly kind of gets better at that as the movie goes on. But what would be a negative for this film for you? Because I think we have the same negative.
I think we do. So the movie kind of has two main plot points running the whole time. The main one being his phone that's trying to destroy his life, but it claims it's trying to make it better. Which it does eventually, but it seems like it's destroying everything on the way. And then it also runs right parallel with the main romance plot line, which one of my negatives is that it's hard to tell which one's the main plot at sometimes. It's like, is this main plot the romance side of it? Is it his life in general because he's trying to become a journalist? Which we don't see much of. It's kind of like talked about, and then it's like put on the back burner, left alone for a while. Or is it this phone that's trying to take over his life? So that's a little complaint that I don't think the plot lines were kind of like, hey, this is the main goal, this is what else is happening. But I don't think it was necessary for this type of comedy, so I could kind of give that one a pass. But the biggest thing is, there's not really a resolution to the phone.
It's kind of like all wiped away, like kind of just like brushed off, like, oh, it's fine, we'll just like move along, like, it's fine, you didn't like, it's not like you emptied my bank account and like almost completely got me like arrested.
To everyone at the company. And almost killed the guy and all this stuff. It just kind of is like, oh no, the phone is suddenly good again.
It felt like almost like a kid movie. Like they were wrapping everything up in a cookie cutter little way.
It had a nice Disney ending.
It did have a Disney
ending. It had a nice, they lived happily ever after ending.
But it was a very good movie. definite issue was with the resolution.
If they would have had a little something, almost even a clunkier ending.
Yeah.
Something that didn't feel so just happy.
Which, I mean, I guess they did kind of show his boss ends up with Jexi at the end, and so you
Right.
kind of see her starting to, like, mess with him. So it's like she's not necessarily completely changed, but just that the Phil character, the main character,
She's done with him.
didn't have such like didn't have a negative reaction to her at the end.
Yeah.
Kind of bothered me a little bit, but I mean, overall, it was a very solid film.
It was very good. I will say, I also think I think Haley really didn't like this. I didn't really mind it, but they had this obsession with Days of Thunder in the
It
film.
was just a very random obsession. It felt very like
I enjoyed it,
run through a
but
list of movies and
it was
pick
something
was
that
very odd.
bothered you. Just there was a little bit of random stuff they tossed in
But
there.
what would you rate this?
On a 1 to 5 scale, as much as I really did love it and I'd see it again, I also can't say that I'd really want to pay regular movie prices anymore for it because of how expensive movies are to go to. So I'd probably give it a 3 or 3.5 out of 5 because it's a solid movie. It's hilarious. You'll laugh almost the whole time, but I don't know if it's something I'd want to spend money on.
I say I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 because it was a good movie. So I would definitely give it a 3.5 because of the resolution issues, and it's just a comedy. So I think a movie would have to be really, really good to give it a 5 out of 5 for sure. So like
comedies are tough to get a good plot point, and they did pretty well for the most part. But they really kind of just kind of cookie cutter. Here's a basic ending that's happy, and we can stop it.
Yeah, but so overall, both very good movies.
Both really good movies.
And
good week.
Yeah, good week. Not any negatives. Next week probably Addams Family, possibly Rambo, and we're gonna try for Maleficent.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's something cool to see.
So that's Joker and Jexi, which both J's. And we'll have some more kind of different movies, more kid movies next week.
Probably
actually.
kid movies, yeah.
So these were kind of more adult themed. I think they were both rated R, but next week I think
Yeah.
there'll be more kid movies. But both very good. So yeah, that wraps us up.
That's Movie Alley Week 1 done.